I'm going to show you my lesson planner to give you an idea of how they're supposed to be used. So, of course, we have our homepage. It's just our living homeschool with a life verse that I love. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and put that into your front binder. Now this was my binder from last year, from the free planner that I made last year. You can see how thick it gets once you start to add all of those lesson plan pages. Now one of the things I wanted to let you know is that, last year I did give it away for free. You can still get the lesson plan pages, the daily, the weekly, and the cover page for free. So if you just go to my website and you sign up for my email list, you'll be directed to a page to download that for free. Or else you can pay $9.99 at my Etsy store and get the entire planner. So that's the first page. Then the academic calendar at a glance. So some people, I don't know if you know how to use these or not, but I will go ahead and show you how I use them. I'll go ahead and pull out my planner from last year. So here's what I did. Now, as you can see, I broke it up by term. So I have term 1, term 2, and then term 3 up here. And they're all color-coded. So I know that, my 12 weeks of term 1 is in yellow, my 12 weeks of term 2 is in green, and then my 12 weeks of term 3 is in pink. And then I also add in my mama retreat, holidays, and school breaks. And so that just gives me a quick glance of what I can expect for the entire year. And like last year, sometimes things change and you have to just go in, print a new one, and start all over. And that's okay. That's why we homeschool. So you can do the same thing here. You have your color keys down here where you can add different colors and then adjust that to how you want to use it. Then the next page is our attendance calendar. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If we're going to start this year in the first week of August, so I'll just put a check on the days that we do school. I'll usually code this too if we're on vacation or holiday or, different field trips. I'll put that in here as well. I'm not sure how many days of school are required where you live, but here I believe in Iowa for homeschoolers it's 148 and preferably up to 180. And, that is what it is. Okay, so then we have our, we don't really like to call these enrichment pages because, in a Charlotte Mason education, they're not enrichment subjects, but they are subjects that are just as equally important as math and reading and writing. So each term, though, you'll find for recitation, you can write down the different recitation pieces that you want. And one thing I'd like to encourage is, before you start your school year, go ahead and listen to that podcast really fast on recitation. Go ahead and listen to the podcast on singing, on your poet, composer, picture study, and Shakespeare. And that'll just kind of get you prepared for the year to come. But this correlates with the CM education, whether it's Mason's Alviary or a delectable education. So these are the subjects, though, that I do as a family, except, of course, for Shakespeare. That starts at Form 2, so my youngest is still in Form 1, so he doesn't join us for that. But everything else we do as a family, and my now 5-year-old, she joins along too, and she loves it. So this is kind of all family work, so I only print one of these out per term. Then I have a book list page that's completely editable for you too. Here at the top, you will put what subject or special study. So, in science, if our special study is trees, I'll put science trees. And then what term we're working on it. And then I will just write down all of the different titles that we're using for that term. It's not necessarily something you need to do for the younger forms. But I do know that after listening to the new podcast, especially about the high schoolers, this is really nice to have to document, especially when you're going to be getting your transcripts together for college. It looks nice when they can take a look at book lists like this and see all of the books that these kids are reading per term. So I'm just trying to get into the habit of it now so that when my kids are one day in high school, it'll just be something that we're just, I'm just used to doing. So, and it's always fun to look back and see what we've done, and it's kind of shows you a lot of progress. I know a lot of us during the end of the year, we can kind of reflect and think, oh man, we just didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done. We feel behind, or we feel that we need to do more maybe into the summer, but it's kind of cool when you have lists like this and you can go, oh, you're right, we did do a lot. So anyways, some encouragement. Then there's term 2, same thing, and then you will get term 3 as well. So each term has pages. Now for the reader selection, I created a page this year called Reader Selection. So this is how I used it, and as I had mentioned before, he'll be going into 5th grade now, so he was 4th grade this past year. These were the books, some of the books that were on his list this past year. What I do is I had 2 of these pages, so he actually had 8 books to choose from. So at the beginning of the year, these were his mandatory readings, his mandatory readers. He started the year by reading them aloud to me, and by the end of the year, he was reading them to himself. So I was pretty darn proud of him. But what I do is I just put the title of the books. It has a place where you can put the image and then a brief synopsis. Now, what I really love about this is if you do have those reluctant readers who look at the size of the book or how many pictures are in there to decide on which ones they want to read, this doesn't give them that option. So here I did books that were suitable to his age and to his reading level. So not really his age, but his reading level. And then I gave this to him, so he had 2 pages to choose from, and I said, okay, you choose which books you want to read first. And so he read all of the synopsises, and he said, okay, I'll start with this one. And it made him excited because he got to do part of the choosing, but at the same time, they were the ones I wanted him to read. And so by the end of the year, we read 7 out of 8, and so I was pretty excited about that. So you can use this as the same way for their readers that you want them to read, or you can even do it, use it for free reads. It's really up to you. But you can tell at the top I did put student name, and you can put a term there if you want to, but I'm probably going to do it again this year because he was pretty excited to see how many books he got through before the end of the year. And those weren't his free reads. These were just pretty much his historical fiction readers. Okay, so then we're going to start getting into our lesson plan. So this is our weekly schedule. Now, for the weekly schedule, I got this idea off of Simply Charlotte Mason. It kind of just gives you an overview of all of the different subjects that you'll be doing per day. So on Monday, I knew that as a family, we're going to be doing Bible recitation, literature, singing, history, and then independent or mother-guided work for each student was a little bit separate. It just gave me an overview of all of the different subjects that we'll be doing for the day. Now, I liked to kind of look at this after 6 weeks. If after 6 weeks I knew that I had too many tougher subjects on one day, we're going to have to move some things around, I'll do that. So then, after 6 weeks, I kind of reflect, see what needs to be changed, and print this all out over again and put it back in the binder. Now, after our weekly schedules, and that's when I start with the monthly calendar, I was kind of excited about this piece that I created for you guys. It has a sweet, the birds are just so fun. It's a sweet illustration with just a little mother culture for you to enjoy per month. It's nothing that needs to be there, but it's just fun. So you'll have that, but then you'll have your monthly calendar. And then on your monthly calendar is where, all of our co-op days are on Friday, so I'll mark that down here. If we're on vacation, if we have field trips, all of those kind of things are going to be there kind of a month at a glance. I can just kind of take a look at what we have going on for the month and not overschedule myself, because that's one thing I've learned is that the less things makes our days kind of flow smoother. So then after that, for each week, I print one of these. I put the habit that we're working on. Tension seems to be on there a lot. Um, items and books needed, any appointments we have, and usually my appointments I now schedule in the afternoon so that they don't interfere with our school mornings, because generally we're done by noon, or we'll go a little later sometimes till 12:30 or 1, but generally those are going to be in the afternoon. And then any field or nature trips we have. And then here again, if we're reading any picture books during the week, usually I like to use this section for my daughter just so that I can remember what kind of we've read to her. And just to kind of start taking a fun list too of how many books we're reading during the week. So this one will be per week. So every week I print one of these out. And of course sometimes I forget. So it's just generally. Now, here is what everyone's been asking about, is how do you use the lesson plan pages? So let me try to explain this to you. Now, this is this was our Monday plans from this past year. So I still have not sat down with scheduling cards, simply because Alvieri doesn't come out with their lesson plans till July 1st. So I won't be doing any planning of our school until then. And it's kind of nice to just have a little bit of a break. Okay, so this is meant to be used per day. So it's just the same sheet, but what you'll do is you'll put Monday down. I leave the date blank, and I'm going to put that in with a pen. But what I have is, after I've done all the work with the scheduling cards, I go ahead and on this side, the approximate time, I'll go ahead and start putting in our minutes and then the subject. Now this right here is for Nehemiah, and this section here is for Ezekiel. I didn't put his name in here. I should have. It should say Ezekiel right here. It is editable for you to add your children. Each page is enough for 2 kids. If you have more than 2 kids, you can print off another one and then have a spread of 4 kids per page. So in your notebook, you'd open it up and see 2 pages instead of 1. So anyways, let me try to get that there. So the first thing we did was 30 minutes. We always start with math. My oldest son, he was in Form 2 this year, 2B, so he had math for 30 minutes, and after we were done with math, I would come here to work completed, and so if we were on lesson 81, I would put lesson 81 right here. Now my Form 1A, 1A this past year, his math is only 20 minutes, so after 20 minutes, he would jump right down here to copy work. So it would be a total of 30. And then once he was done, I'd put a check on copy work, and then I would put what lesson he was on. And then we'd jump down right here to 15 minutes of Bible. Once we were done with Bible, I would put down where we stopped. Well, actually, not where we stopped, but I would put down what we read. So if it was 1 Kings 10, 3 through 5, I would put down 1 Kings 10, 3 through 5, and then the next day I would know where to start off again. And it just kind of goes down the line. 10 minutes, copy work, check. Then they had their play. Then after that, we'd have 10 minutes. We'd come back and do some recitation. I would put down what recitation pieces we did. Now, if you look at your recitation, let's look at that again. So your recitation, one day we're going to do scripture, one day we'll do poems, one day we'll do hymns, and this is for the older ones, parable and Shakespeare. Okay, so right here on recitation, so hard to point when I'm kind of staring here. If we did hymns that day, I would just put hymns. Or if we did, if my oldest did Shakespeare that day, he would do Shakespeare, and my other one would do parables. So I would just mark down what we completed for the different subjects. After, let's see, oops, wrong one. Back here again. So after we had recitation, we would jump to 30 minutes of literature. Now these two were combined as well, except my Form 1B only had 20 minutes because he didn't join us for Shakespeare. So we would do Tanglewood Tales together, we would do Pilgrim's Progress, and then he would break, and then we would finish here with Shakespeare. And I would put, where we left off. So if we finished Pilgrim's Progress, say we ended at page 34, I would just put page 34. Then the week after, I can come back to this and say, okay, we were at page 34. And usually anyways, I'm marking it on my book as well, but it's just a reference and it's a good documentation anyways. So then we would have play for 15 minutes and then we'd come back, do 10 minutes dictation. My younger one would read to my daughter and then we would end with history, 30 minutes of history. My youngest son would break after 20 minutes. Now that's again one of the things I really liked about a delectable education as well, is they were able to tell me what my kids could do together and they lay that out in the outline. And so that makes homeschooling days a lot nicer. And these plans work by time. That's another thing I love about a delectable education is they don't give you page numbers. They say, work at this time, once you hit those 15 minutes, done, and narration's included in there. So with the Alviary, I think they have page numbers scheduled for the days, and so that might make me a little antsy because it was a really great year we had. So we'll see how that goes, but that's how these lesson plans work. So this is Monday. So what I would do is once I figured out what days, what the minutes and what the subjects I'm going to do for Monday, I would print 6 of these, 6 Mondays. And that way I can come back after 6 weeks and reflect, is this working? Do I need to change something? If I do need to change something, I'd go back into the document, change some of these things around, and then print off another 6. So that's just Monday. So then you're going to use the exact same form, and instead of Monday, you're going to put Tuesday. So this is what, and then your Tuesdays are going to be different. Your times will be different, your subjects will be different, and then you'll have a Wednesday, a Thursday, and a Friday. So you're going to be printing off multiples of the same lesson plan page. This is not meant for one page for a week. It's meant for a daily lesson plan. I hope that makes sense a little bit. So when you open up your lesson plan page in Acrobat Reader, do your Monday, print off this one page like 6 times, then do your Tuesday, print off the page 6 times, do your Wednesday, print off the page 6 times, do your Thursday, print it off 6 times, do your Friday, print it off 6 times. Then after 6 weeks, you can come back, look at it. If it all works well, reprint the same thing, the same schedule. But if you need to change things, change it then. So that was the intent for that lesson plan page. And I believe that's pretty much the planner. Now, you are going to get 12 months, 12 calendar months, and they all have a different bird on them. In the book I have for it, it came out of it's a book called Birds, and it's actually really beautiful, one that as a mother I think would be beautiful for mother culture that you could just read. The information of it is on my website, so you can find it there. I'm trying to hope I'm not forgetting anything else. Now, one of the things I also do that I was going to share with you is each of my kids has their own binder. So this is our planner, but then my kids, they do have their own binder. And in their binder, they'll start with a daily chore chart. And we started off really well with this, and it kind of, by the end of the term, this summer just kind of got a hold of us. But so they start with their chore chart, which we will be getting back into the groove of. And then they have their Bible memory that we do a Bible memory verse that we work on per year. This past term was Isaiah 40, 21 through 31. And then we have our singing. So then they can come here and they have their own lyrics for their singing. And that's worked really well because then I can say, okay, it's singing time. Let's open up to our hymn, and then we will all sing together. I'll usually put it up on YouTube, and then we'll all sing together. Same with their recitation. They have a recitation section as well. And so one of the things we did this year was the charge of the Light Brigade. And, I learned a whole lot about recitation. We were doing it wrong for the first 2 terms and try to catch up for the third. But that's where all of the recitation pieces go in. So, and then they have all of their other subjects and extra papers that I print for them, especially like geography and their map drills and their blank maps and things like that. And I put their math, science, and Spanish in here. So they do have their own binder that kind of correlates with the different subjects we'll be doing in your planner. But then as a mama, I also have my own planner, and then in my planner it has the same kind of deal. I have Bible and singing and recitation and poetry, and so I have all of that in here as well. So when we need to do those subjects, we're all doing them together, we're all on the same page, and it's all organized in the planner. So anyways, I hope that made a little bit of sense. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. You can find my planner on my Etsy page. And if you have any questions, there are a couple of people that I am customizing a few different pages for. So if you do want customizations, just email me and then we can talk about what you're looking for, what you kind of wanted different, and if I can help you out with that. So anyways, I hope this helped, and I do hope you do enjoy the planner as much as I enjoyed making it. So anyways, thanks so much.